signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Pride with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the field, the stories unfold.
Finally made it to Friday. That's why it's the Finally Friday edition. That and the fact that you see a graphic that says finally it's Friday.
Big Dogs Podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark. Sports Talk, feel the bark.
Coming up today, sorry, I was answering already. Professional Door Incorporated text messages flying in this morning.
Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark.
Damian Sordelet's going to give us a little extra this week.
Lighten up the dark.
That's because announcement came out yesterday with Babcock retiring in Blacksburg. We'll go over that, get your thoughts. I'll have my thoughts. We'll get Damian's thoughts. Mike Ashley in the open mic, and then Jen the Gamecock girl. I'm not sure where she is this weekend. NFL draft round 1 took place. And I hope everybody's doing okay wherever you might be. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Good morning, Prometheus. Yes, your Raiders got Mendoza. Not a well-kept secret, but that's okay. It didn't have to be. It didn't have to be. So we'll go over some of that, get your thoughts. I want to say this is the weekend that Jen's with Holly. I can never remember her travel schedule. But anyway, hit us up, whatever your thoughts are. Did your favorite NFL team do well? I can't ever imagine attending the draft, though. What a pointless trip that would be, just to stand there for hours and just wait to hear a name called. I guess if you're tailgating and getting drunk, I guess it would change it a little bit. Maybe that would be it. But subscribe, like, and share the channel wherever you might be. We want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here in Reiner, 540-200-8294. I mentioned Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic, off of Walters Drive. Big Dog Sports Talk is going to have its bash over at the NRB Super Bowl. Proud to be sponsored by those folks. Give Terry Syke a call. They've been around for over 25 years, and the weekends are a lot of fun there. 540-382-5525. Go reserve your lane today. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, that's 540-381-8011, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Parts for your home, plumbing, windows. Sundown Electric, appreciate them. One of the best reputations of any business. You see their trucks everywhere. They're located down in Elliston, their home office. Great attention to detail, honest and integrity. Thanks to Jeff Smith and his brother. Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel. If you want a BDST shirt, they're $20. Still get requests for those, which is good. ReadySetFun.com. Bob Christ, CRIST11 at Gmail. If your organization or group wants to raise money via text messages, check it out. Mention Travis Williams, Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors. Family owned and operated. They've been around for 38 years. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. It is BDST presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Racing this weekend. Go support. Little River Heating and Air. That is Charles Lee, 1095 Radford Street over in Christiansburg. 540-553-2971. Look for the blue and black truck. Those guys are everywhere because they're really good. BDST fan question of the week. It was pretty easy this week. We asked what would be your first thing you would do. It's kind of what the NCAA is already trying to do. Limit 5 years and out in your college eligibility. That's the attorney Ryan Pry who brings you the fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street in Radford and Professional Door Incorporated. I'm sorry. Well, yes, Professional Door Incorporated, but National Bank member. I just can't get enough. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of this program, and my exclusive banking partner. Thank you to Larry Ramsey. Whit Babcock is out. Not earth-shattering news. We had speculated here after Tim Sands had retired. I believe this is something that he was told he was going to do. I'll just cut right to the chase. I don't believe he was given much of an option. I think this whole emeritus thing that they attached onto it, that he would still be around in an advisory role, I think that's just some semblance of a buyout. And I don't think he'll be around for that. No new ADs want to have the old failed AD in terms of, well, let's just say it. He was a failed AD around to tell them anything. So it's a big time in Blacksburg, right? You've moved people around the fundraiser. You got a new head, the Hokie Club. You've got a new president coming in, a new athletic director now going to be coming in. There's a lot going on over there. And then you have James Franklin right in the center of it. The new athletic director is going to have to assess everything for him or herself and probably ask a lot of questions. It's got to be right for them. The James Franklin power grab, how much of it is going to interfere potentially with what a new AD can do? I mean, these are questions that have to be asked. I can't imagine James Franklin saw this happening as quickly as it has once he got there. Maybe he was told. I don't know. But he's talked about alignment with the president. That president's gone. He's thought, in his statement yesterday, take it for what it's worth. Whit Babcock was a big reason he was there. Now he's gone. And then he said the next president AD, we have to make sure that football is something they're concerned with. They've got a university to run, but I know what he's saying. So I don't know how all this fits. People are speculating about what James Franklin may have known. I don't know. But this is going to be the fine line that Tech's going to have to walk, right? And I don't know who's going to hire the new AD without a president. Is it going to be John Rakovich? Is it going to be another committee? I don't know. I don't know how the balance of that falls. It's got to be a president in there first. You would think the president would want their own athletic director. How's the new athletic director going to adapt not having anything to do with football? I mean, I don't know the answers to these questions. I'm just throwing things out there I thought about. But I want to get your thoughts on all this. If you are an athletic director, for instance, Matt Roan, who clearly should be the first call Virginia Tech makes. I'm sorry. If not, then they're doing something for another reason. Matt Roan is a massive football fan. He's a football AD. He's going to come here, and he's not going to be able maybe to have any influence at all over that program. How does that affect his mindset? For me, it'd be great to see him come home. Obvious, that's a place that he was at. He grew up supporting, watching. It's a no-brainer. I think he would want to be here. But how would that job structure look? These are questions that, again, we're asking. We don't know. Why is Babcock a failed AD? Because he could not get football right. He could not get football right. And that immediately, when you come into a football school and you go 0 for 2 in your hires, you are a failed AD. He was done in Blacksburg as soon as they had to announce that Brent Pry was fired. Remember, they took that power away from him. Remember that? It was a presidential announcement. Usually that's an athletic director announcement. Witt did not have that choice. And then he was immediately told, you're not going to have anything to do with the next football hire. I know they try to say he was an integral part, blah, 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 but he really wasn't. Would Matt take the job? I don't know. That's up to him. He has to assess that. That's what I'm saying. He'll have to information gather. I think he'll get an interview, and I think he'll be very interested. I will say this. I talked to Matt Roan yesterday. I don't know how vast the search is going to be. They have to make a presidential search. You're not going to hire the athletic director before the president. So this is going to take a while. And then how much power more, maybe I should say it this way, how much more power are you going to give James Franklin? You better be careful. I do not believe James Franklin's here for the long haul. People are thinking he's going to be here for 5 years. He's not going to be here for 5 years. People around the industry are already talking, which means that his agent is putting information out. This is going to be assuming he turns Tech around, 2 to 3 years, most 3 years that he's going to be in Blacksburg. So maybe you can come in, establish yourself, and then understand that you'll have, once the new president's in, once the new fundraising arm gets going, the Hokie Club, and then you come in and get settled, then you get to hire your next football coach. That may be the draw. But to me, it's the easiest thing in the world for Tech. And not only is it easy, you'd be getting a rising superstar. Because if Virginia Tech doesn't hire Matt Roan in the long run, he's just going to go to Power 4 somewhere else sooner than later. So, again, but none of that can really happen until we get to the presidential hire. We'll talk to Damian Sordelette about that. Appreciate him. He's going to jump on at 7. Of course, obviously, he's putting an article together right now. And your thoughts on it. I tell you, I got a lot of response on the professional or text line. Nobody is bemoaning the fact that Whit Babcock stepped down. If anything, people are angry that it took this long. But this thing was constructed, laid out by Tech, that you had the Sands announcement and now the Babcock announcement. We knew, we said it here on the show. You said it in chat. As soon as Sands was gone, there goes the safety net. It's over. But this is something the two of them had already worked out, probably around the Brent Pry firing, going into the committee search for a new football coach. In other words, this isn't necessarily news to anybody over there. So we'll get your thoughts on it. Are you glad? Trepidation still has to be there because, again, the format of how they go out and hire this new AD is going to be huge. You've heard Matt run on this program. It comes on every month, and everyone's blown away by how well thought out he is, the intelligence. Every place that he's gone, he's made better. And he just made his first major football hire. I mean, he's in the Nichols State Hall of Fame already because he turned around their athletic fortunes. They were ready to dump programs. He goes there. Boom. He goes to Eastern Kentucky, and they raise more money than they ever had in their program's history. So he's ascending. Rapidly, he's ascending. And he embraces the new climate of pay for play. It's not like he's shying away from any of this. And Virginia Tech, this is his home. It's a no-brainer. But again, you have the Franklin issue. And maybe a few conversations would help smooth that over. But this is all speculative about the future. We're talking about the now. The now is, what do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? Are you glad what Babcock came in? He came in with a lot of vibrato. Immediately wanting to get away from the way things were done. Shutting down lots of communication opportunities. You bring in Justin Fuente. Everything looked great for Witt, man, right? You got the guy then that shows you how quickly things can turn because everybody agreed. Heck, I agreed. We were all like, wow, okay. That was one of the top guys out there coming from a G5. He's going to be outstanding. We won the first year with Coach Beamer's holdovers, was good the second year, and then it just fell apart and never recovered. And Tech has not recovered since. Brent Pry was a disaster as a head football coach. Never should have been done. The thought processes behind it never made sense. This isn't revisionist history. We talked about it on the radio show when it went down. There were a lot of names attached to the Tech job, one being Matt Campbell, who Penn State just hired. There were some others too. But there was too much of an effort. Oh, we got away from the formula here at Tech. People are pissed off. The donors, i.e., the heavy hitters, are pissed off. Let's go get a guy who was here that understands the reverence of Frank Beamer in this program. Well, he wasn't ready. And he was a miserable head football coach. Now he's back, which still blows my mind. But anyway, and it's nothing against him. It's just weird. The whole thing's weird. But, and then you're taken out of the third hire, right? There's no question, Prometheus. No question. And that may have been part of some of this too. It's going to be major politics involved with the governor and the presidential hire, to say the least. And a lot of people are speculating that maybe that's what Sands was looking at. Now, they fall along the same political beliefs, but maybe he had gotten some heads up. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation about that too. What's up, Year Eva? We're a sports show. Good morning. Subscribe, like, and share. Good to have you. Is that right? Is it just, why are you? I said year. I'm sorry, Eva. Why are Eva? I don't like to mispronounce people's monikers there. So we'll talk more about this coming up with Damien, and we'll get his thoughts. Evan. Hey, Evan. Oh, I see now. YR Evan. Good to see you, man. But the professional door text line, there were probably 24 messages that came in throughout the day, and none of them were, again, upset that this happened. It was just time. It was just time. And when Brent Pry failed, that spelled the end. We are in Southwest Virginia, Evan. Southwest Virginia. Where are you? We talk a lot of college football. We talk things here in the New River Valley mostly. We talk NFL, you name it. We talk about, Oklahoma. Hey, I have a good friend who lives in Stillwater, Dave Hunsiker, the voice of the Oklahoma State Cowboys. He says it is a wonderful place to live, the state of Oklahoma. Yep. I have been there a couple of times, and it has been very pleasant. Both times I've been there, it has been very, very pleasant. So we'll table this now unless people want to bring it up, and then we'll get Damien's take here coming up. Mike Ashley and Jen, the Gamecock girl, later too. The draft last night. 50-50 for you. I got you. The Big Ten has unseated not only the SEC on the playing field, it's now unseated the SEC in the NFL draft. They had 10 first-round picks, and the SEC no longer dominates that category. Ohio State dominated the night in the first round. So there you go. There you go. It just means more. It just means more. It might mean more, but now the Big Ten is surpassing you in every way, shape, and form. And we'll talk to Jen about that too. But did your team do well? Fernando Mendoza, and then this is what's funny. The Raiders took the right approach. I've said this all along. All right. And people now starting to dog Fernando Mendoza. Why? People try to say Fernando Mendoza is not going to be all that. And I'm just like, okay. All right. He's a guy that is going to represent that franchise very well. He's a very nice, I think it's because he's a nice guy. I'm going to be very, very surprised. The comments are up on the screen, Evan. I'm going to be very surprised if Fernando Mendoza is not a very, very good quarterback in the NFL. I don't know. I think people want to have something to talk about. I do. And now he's with a quarterback, an offensive mind, a developer. So the Raiders did the right thing. They've got Kirk Cousins there. This was a no-brainer. The rest of the top five, David Bailey goes to Texas Tech. They take the Jets. Bailey over Arvell Reese, which I was a little surprised about. I think Reese has the higher ceiling, but Bailey is probably ready for more of a right now impact. And we told you yesterday, Jeremiah Love with David Smith. Told you. Cardinals were threatening around with it. It makes no sense. They have so many things going on there. They don't have a settled quarterback. They bring in Love. Maybe they're trying to build the offense for the future around him. I don't know. Titans are getting mixed reviews, taking Carnell Tate, the receiver out of Ohio State. There were some other receivers like Jordan Tyson who fell that may have been a better fit. And then there's the Giants who had Arvell Reese, who was clearly number one on their board, their realistic board. And he fell right to them. Did they need another edge rusher? No, they did not. They did that last year. They already have 4. But you got a guy like Reese falls to you, what are you going to do? You're going to take the best football player. The Chiefs are getting reaction. They traded up to get Mansour Delane, the former Hokie, rated as the top cornerback in the league, who finished off, obviously, as an all-SEC performer at LSU. Now, the Chiefs lost some big parts of their secondary, but trading up, okay. Everybody seems to like Washington's pick of Sonny Styles, the linebacker, again out of Ohio State. So I already see 3 Ohio State players go in the top 7. Just insane. Yeah, they're going to have to, Prometheus. They're going to have to. Yeah, once you subscribe, Evan, you'll see it the way it's supposed to. Yeah. And it's free, by the way. Yeah. T-Bird is right. He's very wise. I think you're exactly right, Prometheus. They've now got, and I'm sure that's their thinking, right? Oh, now look what we've done here, right? Ooh. And you have great depth there on as edge rushers. You know what? That's not a bad problem to have, is it? Or is it even a problem? So they had to take him. I think they sat there and went, are you kidding me? Really? Reese is there? Where's the card? Give me the pen. And then there's Tyson, the Saints. I think he was probably the best wide receiver in the draft. I don't know, Evan. I don't know. You've got 2 screen formats now for the show. T-Bird can help you out, Evan. T-Bird 2732. The Browns took an offensive tackle, Spencer Fano. They needed that guy. He was far and away the highest rated tackle. So, again, we said this going into the draft. It's not a sexy thing after Mendoza, but these are necessary players. Offensive linemen are very necessary if you find the right ones. And the Giants, I think, they were hoping they'd get another player fall to them. Then they took the tackle from Miami, Mauigoa, who people are kind of, okay. But again, you have a young quarterback, Jackson Dart. I don't prejudge linemen. I want to see how they develop, And you're not going to the top 10 if you're not a good player. So I think the Giants are fine. Another Ohio State player fell to the Cowboys. People really like that. Caleb Downs, safety. Darren Woodson comparisons. The tackle that people thought the Giants should have taken was Caden Proctor, who fell to the Dolphins out of Alabama. The guard out of Penn State, who was the number 1 guard, far and away goes to the Ravens. Oliva Vega Iani. I'm sure that's wrong. Sorry. And then there's Reuben Bain falling all the way to 15. The edge out of Miami to the Bucks. The Jets took the number 1 rated tight end, Kenyon Sadiq, out of Oregon. He's a good player. He's a really, really good player. Really good player. But the one that I left out that I have to talk about because it's making the rounds this morning. So David Smith and I were lauding the Rams. They're thinking about winning now. They're all in for winning now. And this is funny. If you want a little chuckle today as you finish up your work week, go watch the post-pick presser with Sean McVay and his owner or GM, whoever, I think it's his GM. You could tell McVay wanted nothing to do with the selection of Ty Simpson. Make it make sense. And I know your quarterback may only have another year or so, but Ty Simpson out of Alabama goes 13. How valuable are quarterbacks? Couldn't you have traded out of that and gotten Ty Simpson later? Was anybody going to take Ty Simpson? It's so funny. You can just tell. They were thinking maybe another receiver. Keep in mind, Puka Nacua is in rehab right now. And I hope he gets everything worked out. But if the Rams are in win Super Bowl now mode, is Sean McVay going to have the energy to try to develop Ty Simpson? That one was curious to me. And I'm not knocking Ty Simpson as a player. He might end up being a good player. It just seems weird for that team right now. Tackle out of Clemson goes to the Lions. Blake Miller. Caleb Banks, defensive tackle out of Florida. I saw a lot of people high on him. He goes to the Vikings. Andy Bitter's Vikings. I don't know much about Monroe Freeling, the offensive tackle out of Georgia. Anytime you draft a tackle out of the SEC, they're usually going to be pretty good. And the Eagles. Now, here you go. Here's the sign, all you Eagles folks. You know you're going to be trading A.J. Brown when you draft Mekhi Lemon out of USC at number 20. There's the message. It's going to happen if they can find a taker. And I have a feeling that they'll take anything for him right now. I mean, just to get rid of that contract, on top of him being apparently a complete fracture of the clubhouse. Offensive tackle. What's interesting about the Steelers taking Max, here we go, Ahianakor. They wanted Lemon, and the Eagles got wind of that. They wanted Lemon. They traded up a few spots, traded right ahead of Pittsburgh, and took the receiver that the Steelers wanted. Akeem Mesidor, who's a really good player. We saw him a lot in the ACC. Goes to the Chargers. Here we go. Chargers get a really good player out of Miami. The edge out of UCF, Malachi Lawrence. Cowboys are being lauded for having a really good draft with Caleb Downs and Lawrence. Their defense, of course, has been a sieve, and they went to address that. I love KC Concepcion. I know Sean Payton did. I was hoping somehow the Broncos could finagle trading up, but nah. He goes to the Browns at 24. This kid is terrific. Finished up at Texas A&M. You remember him, though, at NC State. Good player. Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon, goes to the Bears at 25. Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech, the second-rated guard, goes to the Texans. Again, not sexy. Chris Johnson, a cornerback out of San Diego State. We'll have to ask David Smith next week what he thinks about his Dolphins first round. Caleb Lomu, a tackle, a lot of tackles. See, I said this going into it. That's why I think this thing wasn't really as hyped up as it has been in the past. Goes to the Patriots. Peter Woods, remember him out of Clemson. He's a good player. Defensive tackle goes to the Chiefs. So the Chiefs loaded up on defense. You have an offense, though, that's really kind of questionable. You still have Patrick Mahomes in his window. They didn't do anything to help him. I thought that was interesting. Omar Cooper by the Jets. He's the kid that hooked up so well with Fernando Mendoza. Had been one of those that if the Raiders had the capital, they could have traded back in and just to get him to team up with his quarterback in college. So the Jets, I think, had a good draft, good first round. You know, they had 3 picks. Bailey, I think the only one nobody's criticizing the Bailey pick at all. He's going to be a good player, but Reese is outstanding. So they got Bailey. They got the number 1 tight end, Sadiq. Now he's going to have who he's got throwing to him. And then they got Cooper. They just need to find their quarterback of the future. Keldrick Falk, an edge rusher out of Auburn, went to Tennessee, and Jadarian Price, the other running back at Notre Dame, goes to Seattle. Of course, they lost Walker, so there you go. What do you think? And remember, the Chiefs signed Walker, so that was probably part of their thinking too. They spent a lot of money, most of the free agent money on one player, so they needed defensive help, and they got it. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's what a lot of people said for me. I think you're probably right. They traded up. They took Delane. Maybe they could have traded. Well, he went at 16, but he probably wouldn't have made it down. He was not going to make it down. But then again, they signed Kelsey to a 3-year extension, which doesn't make much sense. But yeah, I agree, Brian. Ty Simpson should be thrilled to be able to watch Matt Stafford. We'll see if that helps him. Yeah, you've got to watch that. It's all over X. You've got to watch Sean McVay. It's so funny. He's just like, hey, Ty, welcome to the Rams. Yeah. Hey, have a great night. Enjoy it with your family. We'll see you when you get out here. All right, here you go. Take the phone. It's not that bad, but you can clearly see that he did not want to take a developmental quarterback when they're in win now mode with the moves they made in the offseason. Hey, Ty. Yeah. Oh, boy. Yeah, just watch your highlight reel in your game against Georgia and all the interceptions you threw. We're going to have to not do that here, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Right. Okay. Enjoy the night. Yeah, we'll see you in a couple days. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Raiders running around, jumping out of the building because they got their guy, Fernando Mendoza. Yeah, and that's interesting. I think Ryan Day obviously has got the best winning percentage of any coach in the country, but that's a lot of guys. The first round of the draft. And you sputtered mightily against the Hurricanes. Sputtered mightily. I mean, that's a lot. Let's count them again here. Let's see. How many overall went? Wow, the fact that so many went in the top 11. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the top 11 were Ohio State players. That's unbelievable to me. Ty Simpson, to me, I'm getting text messages here on the professional door text line. Ty Simpson is the most turn your head sideways pick. I don't like that pick at all. And it's not even against Simpson. It's just the Rams, that totally goes away from what they did in the offseason. And I think that's probably Sean McVay's thinking too. McVay almost quit coaching a few years ago. The year he came back, he wasn't engaged and they weren't good. And now he's been revitalized. I wonder if now he's going to be like, yeah, it's time for me to change. If I'm going to stay in this business, it might be time for me to get out of here. But edge rushers, offensive linemen, this is why this draft was just kind of, round 2 and 3 tonight. And we'll see how, all that plays out. Broncos play pick 30th tonight. No, I did not watch, Stephen. I did not. First of all, I'm not going to watch ESPN's coverage of anything. And I can sit there on my phone and go on the X and see who's taken, and then an instant analysis from people that I think do a lot better job than ESPN. I don't need to see the crowd with their signs. But I sure as hell wasn't watching. No. Damian sort of led here in a little bit. We're going to talk more about Whit Babcock. I'm just trying to table that until we get Damian on, get his take. It was interesting that some people were surprised. And my first reaction when I saw it was, oh, okay, so that was the plan. Okay, makes sense now. I had no thoughts that he was going to stay on very long after Sand's departure. But then I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. A lot of changes in Blacksburg. This is what's positive about this for Tech, if you're a Tech fan, self-awareness, which never happens or doesn't happen nearly enough. Tech seems to have it. Understanding we got to rip this whole thing down. More developments from the Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini. It's just madness. More footage came out. This thing's been going on for a long time. She named her son 4 years ago, Michael. The husband's now, well, soon to be ex-husband of hers, is now wanting a paternity test. They don't think it's his child. This thing is just, how can the Patriots, and of course Goodell last night, well, what Mike Vrabel did doesn't fall under the NFL's policy of conduct. We didn't. Of course not. You're going to punish a player $15,000 because he wears the wrong socks, but you're going to allow this to go on. And how can the Patriots keep? How can Robert Kraft not fire him? How do you go back to your clubhouse and your players that you tried to reprimand for giving their Christian beliefs on a topic, yet here you are, and this has been going on a while. So this thing's bigger than just an affair. I don't know how do you coach the football, and how are fans going to react in Boston? Are they not going to revolt against Mike Vrabel? What a horrible dude. She's lost her job. She's a horrible person too, but she's lost her job. She's already paid the price. Whew. That thing it's crazy. ESPN's cruel and unusual punishment. It should be abolished. Yeah. I don't know how anybody sits down with anything on ESPN and goes, yeah, I can't wait to watch this. You don't. Patriots played in the Super Bowl. Now their coach, as things come out, the new footage, the New York Post released it. You got to see it. Lots of photos. And this was 6 years before the scandal. So this has been going on a long time. So now they're both going to go through messy divorces. And what if we find out the kid is his? This thing's going to turn into a soap opera. How can a football team operate? And I'm not giving anybody a moral judgment here. I'm just thinking about this from a business standpoint. How are the Patriots going to go about their business with all this following them? Correct, Brian. No distractions at all this season in New England. This thing is, and that's why I think you got to let him go. Regardless of how you think about it personally, and it's scumbag behavior, especially when you see the interviews and the little intentional innuendo they're giving one another. She does an interview with someone a couple years ago talking about how big Mike Vrabel is. You think she was just referencing his physical stature? You can see it. It's on X. She's talking to somebody on a radio show and a podcast, and she talks about that, and she giggles. It's amazing how when things are discovered, it looks, oh, okay. It's like watching an episode of Dateline, and I love Dateline. Dateline in 48 hours. I love that stuff. When you see it as it develops, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. Now you can kind of figure stuff out ahead of time. That's the way this thing's going to be. If you were a New England Patriots fan, do you want this guy? Even though he's a legacy, even though he took you to the Super Bowl in year one, do you want him back? I don't know the answer to that in the clubhouse, but fans can answer it. Is Robert Kraft even going to address it. And by the way, now there's accusations that maybe he was using her to spy on the other teams because she was an NFL reporter for The Athletic and went to the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins camps all the time. Remember, the Dolphins lost a first-round pick for talking with Tom Brady. I don't know. This thing is going to be interesting. All the different layers of this is going to be very interesting. Goodell addressed it, not addressing it all. Typical Roger Goodell fashion last night. What a worthless commissioner. The next good decision Roger Goodell makes that makes sense other than money for these making the billionaire owners will be his first good decision. By the way, Rossini deleted her X account when Vrabel had his presser again and admitted about the affair that had been going on for years. She finally deleted her account. She posted on August 21st, keep looking at my 4-year-old son, Michael, while trying to figure out who are the best Michaels to ever play and coach in the NFL. And now that we know they've had this long affair, wow, what a horrible human being. And what about the poor husband? There's clips of her out there verbally abusing him for years. I feel really bad for him. And if it turns out that the son is not his, oh my Lord. But for me, I'm just thinking about it from a Patriots business perspective. And everybody's talking about it for all the wrong reasons. The Patriots were in the Super Bowl, and everybody's talking about it. There's Morris. Morris has been tardy for 2 straight days. From finally Friday in multiple states, Rick Big Dog Watson now gets arrested at the home front. And he can close the gates. BDST is alive and online. Hey, Morris, what's going on? Yeah, Damien is going to join us here at 7-ish. Talk about Whip Babcock. Then Mike Ashley, open mic, and then we got to try to find Jen, and I don't know where she is. Sorry, I'm looking at this Rossini stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy. He doesn't feel tardy. Ryan Pry, the attorney, Ryan Pry. She started spreading fake A.J. Brown and New England rumors when the Eagles were 3-1. It certainly threw their season off kilter. And I suspect Vrabel was behind it. Yeah, now that we know. And people are going to say, well, how can a reporter get more information? She's a reporter. She has insight to all these places. Now, I'm not saying GMs and coaches were talking to her, but what's going to prevent her when people leave a room for her taking pictures or digging through stuff? Come on. This thing is, it's wild, man. Oh, really? Congratulations, Morris. So Morris has his family down for this Songwriters Festival. Hey, Morris, get your family to subscribe. Just tell her it's for your good pal, Rick. That's cool, man. Congratulations. That's awesome. Have fun, man. You've earned it. You've earned it. That's great. That's great. Yeah, I'm getting people here on the text line. Just telling me, no, I would not want lifelong Cowboys fan here. We've had our misgivings, but this thing just, I don't know how the team plays through all this. Well, guys are professionals to the point to where they can, they can throw out a lot of things, right? But I think it changed the presser when Vrabel admitted to the affair. I think that changed it. As soon as that got out, Rossini deleted her account. And this thing's about to hit a new level of coverage, I think. I think this is going to become more of this thing's not going to go away. This is the kind of thing the media knows that they will get clicks. Whew. Wow. What a mess. Is it too graphic to say what my dad used to tell me? I'm sending Damien his invite now. Okay. Is it too graphic to say the phrase that my dad used to tell me? I was growing up as a teenager. Your hormones start kicking in, right? Playing football at Pulaski County. I was in really good shape. Felt good about myself. Worked on the farm. You really felt, you felt that you were a viable human being. Never was arrogant or cocky, but I was very strong. I've always been strong. Dad called me the mule. And that helped me a lot. I think that's what happened with me at Pulaski County. I think coaches saw that. One of the best compliments I ever got was from Michael J. Smith, of all people. When we, as a sophomore, going hamburger drills with Hogg, and he got mad at me first because I beat him in hamburger, and they were giving him a hard time. Boy, he came after me. He was threatening me. He was chasing me down. And I was scared. Oh, I'm going to get my ass beat by Michael J. Anybody who knows who I'm talking about, Michael J. Smith. And then we had another one, and it was just, and he talked about in the weight room, strength and things like that. And he said, everybody always called me Waddy. Waddy, you strong, man. You strong, man. And then Michael became a really close friend over the years, and I still can't believe he's gone. But everybody knows Michael J. Smith. He went on to be a very successful bodybuilder and just anyway, I got sidetracked. But my dad looked at me one day when I was sitting out in the field. It was an evening on the farm. We were sitting on the barn roof. We'd finished. And we had a great access ladder to the roof. And we just like to chill out sometimes, take a deep breath. You're tired. And he said, hey, man, I'm going to give you some advice here that I hope you one day you'll understand. He says, don't dig your grave with your dick. Thanks, Hot Rod. It was the one thing I did have, the string. And Mike Vrabel's done that. And on that note, hey, it's David sort of left. What's going on, David? You came in at the telephone conversation.
Yeah, I entered the studio with you talking about don't dig your grave a certain way. And I'm like, what am I getting into? And then I'm like, oh, it's Mike Vrabel.
Well, I was not going to say it. And then, I said, should I say it? This is what my dad, you know what? He was right. It's a little graphic, but you know what?
It's right.
And now
it's applicable to everything.
Correct. Absolutely. And I was like, I didn't really, later on, you're growing up, you're like, okay, yeah, I got you. All right. Not earth-shattering news. I guess we kind of knew, but what were your thoughts yesterday when you saw the official announcement about Whit Babcock?
Not surprising, considering similar to how the events unfolded at Syracuse earlier this year, where the chancellor announced he was leaving to go to Michigan, his alma mater, and then the athletic director, I believe, 2 weeks later, said he was retiring or leaving. Same time frame. Tim Sands announced on April 9th that he will soon step down. And then 2 weeks later, Whit Babcock is announcing his retirement. So, yeah, I think writing was on the wall. I know Andy mentioned it on his on the TSL podcast how Tim Sands was what Babcock's biggest advocate over the 12 years, and when you lose that, sometimes the writing is on the wall, and it's like, you know what, I'll step aside, bring in new blood. And he mentioned in his prepared statement that he was thinking next year would have been the time that he would step down. So, which would have been the end of Tim Sands' contract if Tim Sands was going to play that out. So, if he was planning on leaving when Tim Sands' contract was ending, I think that would be, ideal that he would leave with Tim Sands.
Well, I've heard from a lot of people, and I haven't had anybody bemoaning the fact that Witt is gone. How would you identify his legacy? Because the fans seem to be really happy that this finally is now official.
Mixed reaction would be how fans would define it. You look at the failure that is football and not keeping up with the Joneses when it comes to NIL.
Sure.
That hurts. But you also have to look at women's basketball made the Final Four under his watch. Wrestling has become one of the best programs in the ACC in the nation. Softball and baseball both hosted super regionals in 2022. Softball has maintained its relevancy in the sport, whereas baseball has lagged behind. I know both soccer programs have made Elite Eights during his time. But again, when you look at his two hires in football, the fact that you have a board of visitors meeting earlier this month where a coach had told the athletic committee, we've got more NIL funds, but we're still falling behind.
Right.
That's where, that's what people are going to think of.
Yeah.
And I wrote this, like, you can't not look back on his legacy without thinking about last August and the fact that he went to the Board of Visitors and was like, y'all think that we're doing fine? No, we're not. We need more money. We can't do more with less. And the amount of attention that got from the Board of Visitors, and the fact that in their Q&A session with Witt afterwards, that they were like, we didn't know this. And Witt's like, well, I've been coming to you every year telling you it's like this, and you guys aren't listening to me, so now I have to put it in black and white. The fact that he got that investment from the university, I think you have to include that in his legacy. But it is one, like, you see the comments on here, there's mixed reaction to it. And the fact that if your revenue sports are not doing well, not a good sign.
And then you mentioned women's basketball, but then there was the kind of ugly back and forth between he and the coach who departed, Kenny Brooks. That didn't give him a lot of good vibes either. That whole thing was bizarre how that relationship fell apart. And apparently the animosity had been building for a couple of years, and it all came out there at the end. So, but you're right. It all comes down to football. He hired the right guy. Everybody thought the first time it didn't work out. It never made sense. Brent Pry's hire. Sorry, it's not revisionist history. I criticized it then, and then you see what happens. And he had nothing really to do. I know they try to attach him to this, but James Franklin was really nothing with Witt. So you're right. It has to do with football. Men's basketball hasn't been right since they won the tournament. And you're right. I think that you hit it right on the head. When Jay Pearson came out and said that, okay, we're already behind. That threw a lot of people sideways. There are a lot of people angry about that. I'm talking about donors. They were like, whoa, okay. We just announced the record-setting deal. I had a gentleman tell me he's out now. Guy who gave millions. I am not doing this anymore. Yeah. So it had a negative effect on certain people is what I'm saying. So, and he's the face of it, right? He's kind of the face of it.
Yeah, and he never got the athletic department to a point where it could be self-sufficient, where you don't need to keep funneling in all this money. You're not at the point of like Alabama, Texas, or Ohio State, where, based on football revenue alone, plus maybe some marginal revenue in basketball, you can offset the losses that come with the other sports. And again, we haven't heard anything about sponsor patches on any of the athletic teams. We haven't heard about selling sponsorship on the field of Lane Stadium, or even like Thompson Field or English Field or Tech Softball Park. We haven't heard that, because that's how you keep up and get some more money coming in. So fresh blood's going to be big. I did notice in the press release they did not mention anything about a national search for Babcock's replacement. Me thinks that the new president will have a big say in that.
Sure, as it should be. Yeah.
And the fact that Witt's retiring June 30th and then moving into the emeritus role, there might be an interim athletic director, unless the president is already in place by June. So I think the search committee for the new president is probably working in overdrive now, especially since the governor has appointed 4 to the Board of Visitors to replace the 5. I'm surprised it wasn't a 5th, unless Ryan McCarthy's sticking around for another term. So we'll see how that unfolds and see how quickly they get the wheels in motion for that, because if you can land a president sooner rather than later, you'll have a chance to find a athletic director soon after that. And I do have an answer to Prometheus's question there.
Yeah, that's going to be the key to the whole thing.
If you read through the press release, there was only one coach who was included in the press release. Everyone else got social media graphics. James Franklin had a 4-paragraph quote in there. And I just want to read the last paragraph because that was the most important one. The upcoming leadership decisions regarding both the next university president and athletics director will be critical to sustaining the momentum and progress of the football program. There's your influence.
Is that a warning shot that I better be involved in this? Did this happen? So what's your take? I've been waiting to ask you this question because I don't know. People ask me, do you think Franklin got a heads up about any of this? You think when he was coming in, you think he was told, well, I might be heading out sooner than I thought, President saying, or do you think he's sitting around going, this isn't what I came here for? You know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think?
Franklin has talked a lot about alignment, and you've heard this quite a bit about the alignment between himself, Witt, John Rakovich, director, Tim Sam.
Yeah.
I have a feeling like James Franklin, being the highest paid employee at Virginia Tech, will have a say. And the fact that he answers to the board, like to Pearson and McCarthy and Rakovich, he will probably have a say. And they'll say, yeah. I've seen a lot of theories floated around that Pry essentially told Franklin about Sands and Witt, and it was like, all right, you probably need to get them forced out in order to get to where you want this program to be. So, again, I would say Franklin probably has some influence on this. You would need a president who has an eye for athletics and understands football needs to be a priority because it is the front porch to the university. And then has Witt set up the modernized athletic department structure? And does that mean the athletic director will have say over football? Because if not, then you can go hire someone else. And then Franklin and his general manager are probably reporting to Danny White, who reports to the board.
And I feel like that's going to limit the pool. That's my big thing about all this. Because there's a guy in Harrisonburg who would be outstanding in this role. And I know he'd like to come home, but he's a football AD. And they've already set the president. James Franklin doesn't answer to the AD. So I don't know how do you think that affects things? And can that evolve and change if it's somebody that James Franklin wants in that role? I'm just always I'm a little, Damien, for me, you give a coach way too much power. They're not very loyal to their institutions. And there's nobody who really thinks Franklin's going to be here at most longer than 3 years. I mean, how much power do you give him in the immediate? over these next. This is going to be huge choices that Tech makes going forward in athletics.
I agree, and I agree Matt Roan would be a home run hire for Virginia Tech. So if you bring it, I would say if you bring in someone who is a football first AD, that would probably be someone that Franklin would sign off on. Again, he wants someone who will be in alignment with everyone else. Prometheus is probably right. The new AD will have a relationship with Franklin.
I know.
But if the new president wants someone else who happens to be football minded, that can probably work out. Again, I don't know. I don't want to say, I'm not going to come up. I tried to start thinking of a list of candidates last night, and I was like, I want to see who the university president is first to see who they may have
exactly that. Yes, yeah. And when is that supposed to come down? Is that August? Is that?
It could be before the school year is over.
Could be before the school. Okay.
Yeah, it could be to get a president in time for the school year. Rakovich brought that up at the Board of Visitors meeting. It's like you lose a good pool of candidates to be the university president if you wait till the school year has already started. Because university presidents are going to come in and put their fingerprints over things as soon as they can, and that could be at the start of the school year. So you don't want to limit your candidate pool there. And the same breath, if you can get them in early enough where they have an idea who they want for an athletic director, that could help. And again, I don't think Franklin's going to be at the forefront of this, but he might be poking some people because the Board of Visitors is part of the search. He's got a great relationship with Rakovich, Pearson, and McCarthy. He can probably poke them and say, "Who are you looking at? Who are you looking at? Who's a possibility?"
Sure.
So I don't know what the pool looks like for Virginia Tech. I'm sure they'll have a good range of candidates for president, and the fact that the university has invested a lot of money into athletics, you probably have a decent pool for athletic director as well. So
sure, yeah, absolutely.
And again, if to your point, if the athletic director can oversee football and can come and establish a relationship with Franklin that says there's an alignment from the top of the university to you when it comes to how we're running things. So
yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let's say Matt Roan is offered and takes the job. Then he go, okay, Franklin's going to be the guy, but let me get up there, get my feet wet and other things, get established. And then when James Franklin goes to another school, boom, I get to make the next hire. Then I have my guy and and it kind of, maybe it's the best of both worlds for that person going forward. I don't know.
Yeah. And the next AD is going to need to do a lot with filling out his or her department, because I've heard that, there's positions that need to be filled. You need to revamp and restock the Hokie Club. With Danny White leaving that post, you need to bring in someone who has some fundraising experience and then can fill out a full staff there. So that way university advancement isn't undertaking so much when it comes to athletic department fundraising. Because university advancement is spearheading this Invest to Win initiative, where they're trying to raise all this money for the $250 million that the university promised athletics. So there's a lot that needs to be done. Especially with John Boleyn leaving. I know there's fans who have mixed reactions to him, especially after the ESPN article.
I don't know if they're mixed. I think they feel like they do about Witt. They're just like, bye.
Yeah.
Gonna miss him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been there for nearly 40 years.
Yeah.
There are times that runs its course, right? So, his contract's ending. He's retiring. the new AD will have a chance to fill out we'll get some lieutenants in there and try to get them aligned.
So the emeritus thing, Andy brought up the point, it's probably like a buyout, right? Because this is probably something that was thrown. I don't know how long that'll last. I can't imagine he'll have much say, or a new AD wouldn't want the old AD hanging around in any kind of role.
Well, they announced the emeritus role lasts until his contract expires.
Mm-hmm. But he could walk away from that if he wanted to.
Oh yeah, he could. Yeah. But the emeritus lasts through June 30th to 2029, which is how long his contract lasts. And I assume because there's no incentive clauses in an emeritus role, he's not going to be able to get any more bonuses or anything like that as his contract calls for. So they might say, you're making this. But again, I agree with Andy. They probably restructured his contract because you don't want an emeritus AD making more than your acting athletic director.
Correct.
So he can he can live comfortably in Blacksburg in that role. Probably share an office with Bud Foster. Probably have a cigar and some bourbon with Bud from time to time.
Lots of bourbon. I mean, you can have lots of bourbon now. You can just.
Oh yeah, top shelf too.
Yeah, the good stuff. The good stuff. So, when's your articles? You already have stuff out today, I'm sure. Or what do you got?
Oh yeah, we had something in the paper today.
Okay, I figured you would.
When that came down, I didn't get the heads up like Teal did, because Teal's locked in. He probably had some people say, "Hey, something's happening." But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go sift through with over 12 plus years with Witt, because it'll be 12 and a half years when he retires. And like I mentioned, there's some good stuff that happened in the non-revenue sports, but the fact that football struggled after Fuente's first 2 years, NIL, you're still, for some reason, there's still struggle there. Like, those are things that you have to consider with his legacy. And
absolutely, 100%. I agree with that. Well, we'll see. I mean, boy, when you talk about sweeping changes, right? President, you've changed the member of your fundraising arm, right? New Hoka Club. Now you've got your AD. Yeah. I mean, they looked at this thing and said, we got to tear this thing down, right? And from a schools, I mean, it just feels like it. Maybe
I mean, it is a changing of the guard at Virginia Tech, and we'll see what happens. I know if you look back the last 30 years, you had Jim Weaver and Whit Babcock over that time frame. So there has been stability in that realm. So you hope to find someone young enough. I mean, when Whit took over, he was 55. You probably shoot for a little bit younger, so that way you could possibly have an AD in charge for 12 plus years. Keep that stable, because you don't want to have to be changing athletic directors every 5-6 years.
Yeah, 100%. The guy in Harrisonburg's young. I'm just saying.
And he knows the area.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we were talking during the coaching search, we brought up Matt Roan and Jeff King as a possible combo to go to Tech. And, I agree with you. Roan's done a really good job at Harrisonburg. He's done a good job at every one of his spots.
Everywhere he's gone.
So, I mean, you could say James Madison fans would probably be upset that Virginia Tech bought out its football game with them this upcoming season. And then we're going to take your athletic director.
Yeah, we're taking away your payday. Oh, by the way. Yeah.
By the way, I mean, we already took VMI's football coach, and we're playing them to open the season.
That's right. Oh, brother, I appreciate you jumping on, man. I know it was short notice. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, big news, and again, I don't know what the time frame is, but I assume like they're probably working at warp speed to get a president in, so that way that president can hire the athletic director. So I got a feeling interviews will probably be set up soon by the board to get to get a president in. And Morris, Witt's not fit. Witt is much older than 55 right now. Because I think he was 55 when he got the job.
I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea how old Witt is. No idea. But, all right, man. Well, listen. Have a great weekend. Maybe the news will calm down a little bit now. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, something happens every day. So I mean,
I know.
It'll happen. But Witt. I don't know how. I think he was 55 when he took the job. Because he graduated from James Madison in 1992, so that could put him at 55. But
yeah, he could be 55. I don't know. He kind of looks like he's in that mid to late 50s mode when you look at him. I guess I could research it and find out how old he is. But anyway,
he's 55 now. Yeah, I saw an article that said he was the 55 when he took the job. So if he's 55 now and he's retiring, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. All right, brother. Have a great weekend. And again, thanks so much for jumping on, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem.
All right, man.
You guys have a great weekend, too.
All right, you too, man. We'll see you next week.
All right, see you then.
All right, there you go. Good stuff. Thanks to Damian Sordelette for joining us on the program. Good stuff. Watching the Fernando Mendoza reaction. It says, looks like he just got drafted to be a financial advisor for the Raiders accounting department. He just looks great. There you go. There you go, Prometheus. There's your guy. It's going to change your franchise.
Cleveland Rams drafted Indiana running back Corby Davis first overall in the 1930 draft.
Fernando Mendoza. Hard not to like that kid. I'll tell you that. Hard not to like that kid. Oh, my camera just. Hey, I'm back. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room and on our Professional Door Incorporated text line. Many of you have been clobbering the text line, which is great because of everything that's happened. It's not small news. Mike Ashley next, and I have no idea where Jen is today. Wasn't this the week she's down with Holly down in Tampa or Orlando? Prometheus is buying a jersey very soon. Yeah, and, I get it. I'm not jersey guy. I'm not wear jersey guy. But I get it. I get why you would. He's going to look good in that number 15. Maybe because it was such a given, people aren't talking about it, but I think it's going to be right, Wayne. He's wearing a suit and tie. The kid just doesn't get it. Exactly. And see, that's the thing too. You got to look at that position too. It's intangibles along with physical skill. He showed you against Miami when he needed to do something late. He did. That run is representative. That 10-yard touchdown where he's bouncing off people and just mowing over people. That when I saw that, I'm like, man, the Raiders are going to really luck out here, aren't they? He looked great, didn't he? He's just that guy. And I think guys will want to win for him. He's going to be that kind of leader. That's what his teammates at Indiana, they were saying during the run, we don't want to let him down. Don't want to let Fernando Mendoza down. I mean, you think about that at the collegiate level. So he commands that. I think he's got everything. He can make all the throws. I'm telling you. And yet, you see the popular thing. I guess somebody starts it on X. Well, I'm not sure he's much better than Ty Simpson. Okay. Go look at the Ty Simpson film against Georgia. Morris says, forget it. We ain't getting no sacks tooting from Valley Girl Jen. It will happen. It will happen. She's promised, and she does not break her promises. I've known her a very long time. Question of the week. What is what? He's 55. That's good, T-Bird. Wayne, people are lauding your Browns. Now, if you could just get a quarterback. Love the Concepcion kid. You know, he's going to be terrific. I think that kid's going to be a mega star. Got your tackle. People love the tackle. Got your wide receiver, but you just don't quite have that guy under center. You see, it's like the Seinfeld episode. I don't think you know what a reservation is. Yes, we do. Well, no, you don't, because if you did, I'd have a car. You see, anybody can take the reservation. It's holding the reservation. See, the Browns can draft all these pieces around them, but they don't have a quarterback. You can say you've got a quarterback. Or coach or owner. Yeah, he made a bad move with the Stefanski firing. That's going to backfire on you. Yeah. I think that one's going to backfire on you. Morris says Wayne and all of us take the Browns to the Super Bowl every day. Did you watch the draft? Everybody have a good time? One thing I like most, and people are asking me, obviously I know Matt Rohn. He's a Pulaski County Cougar. He's from my hometown, and we've gotten really close. But he's a guy that's not afraid of the new era. He's embracing it. He's embracing it. And I think that's very important. I really do. I really do. Don't jinx Mendoza. He'll get hobbled in the first snap of the season. Yeah, I see this too, Ryan. And this is criticism I don't agree with. Like, they're saying, hey, I like Mendoza. His interviews almost sound like AI, like Jimmy Johnson. Let's see how I know one thing, that if he is polished, it doesn't come across on the field when he's playing. That run at the end of the Miami game should have definitely kind of put in your mind that he's not that guy. Joining us now on the program is that guy. Speaking of polished and
yeah, that's me.
That's my
Hey,
gosh.
you talking about the draft?
Yeah, we're talking about the draft a little bit. Hey, I got to work with you last weekend. That was fun. Thank you for jumping on the air with me during the softball.
That was fun. That game 2 victory in that softball series was incredible. It was to be there to see that. Yeah,
that was great. That was great. Yeah, we are talking draft. What do you know? Your Cowboys are getting positive reaction today. Wow.
What ESPN talking about the Cowboys? I'm overwhelmed. I can't believe it.
No, I'm not talking about ESPN. I don't listen to anything they say. But I'm talking about people who actually know something about sports are like, wow, the Cowboys.
Yeah. Isn't it kind of funny that everybody gets a great draft grade if they've got more than one pick in the round? You know what? That's
true.
Draft. They got 2. Everybody else got 1.
That's true.
Grade them higher.
Yeah, how do you give him a bad grade if he took 2 in the first round? That's true.
I was thinking about that question because I don't really delve too deep into all that, but I actually thought the Raiders had a great draft with their one pick for the reasons I caught the end of you discussing there, because I think Mendoza's the real deal. He seems too good to be true. But as
people just want to criticize. People are just looking at him and want to criticize him for whatever reason.
Well, he's improvisational, like you said, and he's got all the tools, and he's so far above. No offense to Ty Simpson, but there's really just no comparison in the physical gifts that the guys have. But the reason I grade this pick so high is because how often does it happen that a franchise needs a great quarterback, but they're not in a position to get one? So part of that's luck, and a lot of that is part of the draft too. The Raiders being in the right place at the right time. That so rarely seems to work out for most teams.
That's a great point you made. Yeah, when you need that one position, how many times has it worked out that your guy is right there and you don't have to do anything because you have that pick? That's true. That's very, very true. It's very rare. It is rare. No finagling needed. No finagling needed.
Finagling, yes. I also thought New York had a good night. Both, I almost choke saying this, the Jets actually looked like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, the Jets look like they drafted 3. But there you go again, your theory, Mike's theory. Yeah, they had 3 picks. So.
Yeah, I thought David Bailey does seem like the most out-of-the-box edge rusher, which
ready
is a new
to go,
thing.
Yeah.
It's not a linebacker. It's not a defensive end. He's an edge.
He's an edge rusher, yeah.
And I tell you, I had seen footage of Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, and he's a beast. He's a great player. Omar Cooper, he has the catch that was the most dramatic moment of college football, I thought, last year, all season.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's good. And for Neil Leahy's New York Giants, Arvell Reese was the second best edge off the board, and he maybe has the bigger upside.
Than Bailey. I think Reese is the better player. I think the Giants were like, we don't need it, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I can't remember the lineman's name out of Miami, but he's a good one too. And how many teams that turn things around actually, it all starts up front. You build with the solid players on both sides of the line. And looks like the Giants, actually, we know now they actually have really good coaching and are probably going to be a better franchise than they've been in recent years.
Yeah, I think should be a given. So
now the big loser last night, I thought, was poor Jeremiah Love, who looks as talented a running back at coming into the league as we've had in quite a while. That size and speed is that combination he's really got it going on, but he's going to a place that just doesn't seem to have a plan. Who's going to hand him the ball and who's going to block for him? I just don't really see it out there. Jacoby Brissett, his picture's in the NFL dictionary next to journeyman now. So, I just don't know if that's going to work out well for him.
No, but we called that yesterday. David Smith and I were on previewing the first round. We talked about that, and we kind of thought Love would not get past Arizona, and that's exactly what happened. But you're right.
His stock shot up this week.
It did.
I mean, they were talking about him going like around. Well, interesting to me being on the board when the Cowboys drafted, and maybe not going till the middle of which is just the devaluation of running backs is kind of strange, the way the passing game is taken over. But all of us that grew up watching the high school football in the area, with the how those games are won, it's usually around the ground game, and I can't get away from that. And as when I started covering sports professionally, well, not professional sports, but high school and college, and got to be around teams and see how they're constructed and things, I quickly went from a guy who loved those pass-happy teams to a guy who loved the ground game, because the clock moved and I made deadline.
That's right. Yeah, you never missed deadline. You never missed a deadline, did you? I can't believe Mike Ashley ever missed a deadline.
No, there's a lot of interesting stories. I would love to get on here with Ray Cox, who, by the way, I had lunch with about a week ago, and talk about some of the shenanigans you get into.
Yeah, let's get him on. We should get both of you on at one of your Fridays. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. It would be fun. Ray's for real, as a friend of mine says.
Yeah, Ray is for real. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. All right, speaking of real, what we got with the open mic this week?
I thought I might talk about the draft, so let's go.
Really? I thought you'd be talking about how good you were, how glad you were to see me last weekend. But okay, go ahead.
Well, there was that, but we can go on about that some other time.
I know.
We'll get a press room.
Right? Yeah, you two get a press room.
Well, and obviously, as you hear this, you'll know I wrote it last night when I was bleary-eyed, because I am a sucker for the NFL draft, and I'm apparently not the only one, since it moved to 3 days and into prime time for round 1, and then tonight rounds 2 and 3. Like the actual sports, it's the very best reality TV. Last night I watched the whole first round until I was a sleeper myself. I had more reason than usual, since my long-suffering, thanks Jerry, Cowboys had 2 first-round picks, sweated it out early as the best defensive players started coming off the board fast, including Ohio State's Sonny Styles to the Washington Commanders at number 7. Great pick. Grumble, grumble, murmur, murmur. The boys got the last dominant defensive difference maker on my board in Caleb Downs, Styles' Buckeye teammate, and a perfect fit in the new defensive coordinator Christian Parker, at least so I'm told. I like edge rusher Malachi Lawrence out of Central Florida too, but mostly because he's not Mozzie Smith or Taco Charlton. And with the Cowboys, with that Cowboy-centric name, I hope he's more like Ebenezer Ekubon or Jethro Pugh, that old Malachi Lawrence. And truth be told, I really don't have a board. I have a legal pad. It was made up of scribbles of mock drafts I had seen recently on the email machine. Mock draft, what a concept. My first pick in a real mock draft would have to be a mock turtleneck, unless I traded down to get mock apple pie. Yeah, I absorbed too much draft coverage. I still have Mel Kiper Jr.'s voice in my head, and unfortunately, none of his hair on top of my head. I do love the ins and outs of pro drafts, though, and, well, just the ends of drafts, to be quite honest. It changed for me a lot now that it's an industry unto itself, and you don't have to just used to be when I was a kid, you'd have to go to the newspaper the next day and read the small print to know what every team had done. And now, for me, it started in 1986, the NBA draft that year, and keeping tabs on a guy I actually got to cover that whole season, one Wardell Curry over at Virginia Tech. Big draft night that year. Brad Daugherty, the Cleveland Cavaliers at number 1, then Lynn Bias. Rest in peace, number 34, to the Boston Celtics. And you had Chris Washburn, Kenny Skywalker, lots of big guys. I sweated it out the whole first round as Dell didn't go to number 15, and he went to Utah, which nobody really remembers now, because the next year he was picked up in the expansion draft to Charlotte. And that worked out a lot better. We got more chances to see him play since he was closer in our time zone. And his son's growing up there and later playing collectively in the region, though I know that's a sore subject in Blacksburg. I've been breaking down drafts ever since. The art of putting together a team is fascinating, particularly since all of us now have fantasy team ownership experience, which is a big change from back then, too. I finally remember our famed Route 11 Baseball Association, the REBA, back in the day when I lived in Radford, and a lot of us owners actually in the business of sports, so it was a really interesting league. We'd often meet at lunch, and the quips and players would start flying. We traded 18 players once at the Pizza Hut buffet, and I remember ending up with Tim Belcher. Which also describes me when I stepped away from the table that day. But I'm violating one of my own principles here. The number one rule of fantasy sports: everyone wants to talk about their team. No one wants to hear about your team. So let's be careful out there, kids. And hope springs eternal for all us fanatics as we move to day 2 in the National Football League draft.
Hey, good job. Yep, good stuff. I was real happy with the Broncos' first-round pick. Jalen Waddle's going to be – he was a great first-round pick. He plays like he already has experience in the league. It's crazy.
Just like college sports, right? Go get somebody else's guy and bring him in the picture.
That's exactly right.
Hey, you know who has the last pick in the draft this year?
Should be the Seahawks, but no. Who is it?
I think it's the Denver Broncos. Mr. Irrelevant.
Oh, we did get – that's right. We traded. That's right, because it was a trade we made, and we did take Mr. Irrelevant. That's right. That's exactly right.
I wonder, that's always interesting to see because they make such a big deal out of that. It's so cool. And actually, like in a lot of situations, it's maybe better if you're not drafted and you can go pick out a team to sign with that
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
those guys have become more
that.
prominent. Those post-draft signings, those have become a lot more prominent. Those free agent signings. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, it's very important. It's kind of funny the way the Cowboys traded last night because they traded away 2 picks to move up 1 spot. I guess they thought Miami was going to take Downs, which they probably should have because he was the best player on the board at the time. And then later they got those 2 picks back and trading down to get Malachi Lawrence, and they actually got higher picks now. So, what that's worth. And I'm still trying to figure out the whole George Pickens things. That just scares me. I hate it. I hate talking about players' contracts and he's not happy and everything. I'm smelling a Dwayne Thomas situation here.
Dwayne Thomas, wow.
Yes,
TP
from my youth. Yes.
It was a Tim Belcher reference, TP. Yes, it was. He goes, was that a Tim Belcher reference? Yes. Only Mike Ashley bringing that Tim Belcher on a Friday. That's
well, and I get that from Don Bowman, former general manager of the Pulaski Braves, who every year would draft Tim Belcher because he was as he said, an innings eater. And, I guess maybe that triggered me when I was at Pizza Hut going back for my 3rd play.
Belcher, eh?
I think one year Bowman tried to draft just relievers because they always had better numbers. But, you have to have a minimum of innings. And so he was always scrambling to get his minimum innings there, trying to build around really strong arms in the bullpen, and
right.
I actually looking back, he was ahead of his time because now starting pitching has been devalued like running backs.
No, yes, it has. They're coming back though. Running backs are coming back. I knew they would.
I think starting pitching is gonna come back too. Somebody's gonna have hey, why don't we leave this guy in longer so we don't ruin our whole rotation the rest of the week?
It's just it's terrible. It's terrible. That is true, Ryan Pratt talked about that. Yeah, the Eagles jumped ahead of their rival in the state, Pittsburgh, to take Lemon because the Steelers were going to take Lemon. They found that out, and the Steelers were like, "Uh-oh." So, yeah. So that happened.
And the Cowboys aided and abetted.
And the Cowboys were part of that. That's exactly right. 100%. Helping out a division rival. Wow. How about that?
Well, it's like the old Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, which I as a tweenager, I lived and breathed on those fights at Starland Arena and the Salem and Roanoke Civic Centers until I saw like Blackjack Mulligan and oh God, who was that other guy? The big guy, Haystacks Calhoun.
Dino Bravo? No, Haystacks Calhoun.
No, but I can't see a Winnebago pull up and like Blackjack Mulligan and number 1 Paul Jones get out together. They're that ruined the whole thing for me. I thought they hated each other. How could they ride together? Weren't they in the back going poke, 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 poke? Yeah. Hey, stop it! I'm pulling the van over. Hey, you put him in a claw again. I'm pulling the van over.
Yeah, and that became a problem if you watch those old A&E biographies. They had to stop doing that. They had to stop the cars way ahead of the arena, and guys would walk in separately so people couldn't see them together to ruin the whole display of it. So, yeah.
Right. Yes, I read that, and that's the problem I have. One of the many problems with ESPN these days. Okay, so we're all about the betting now. We've got whole segments on betting. We're running the odds across the screen and everything. And now they're in with wrestling. But surprisingly, there's no betting on wrestling that I see anything. No analysts breaking it down, how this is going to happen. Why is that, Rick?
I don't know. It's just a mystery, isn't it?
It is.
Well, good stuff, as always, my friend. I hope you have a good weekend, although I won't because I hung out with you last weekend. Now I don't get to. So my weekend's already not going to be good enough. So.
Oh, you will survive. And, let's win some down the stretch here. It was really good to be back at the Dedman Center and actually see both teams play. And I'm still naive enough to just get excited when I go down there and see what's happened to that facility as far as those. And a lot of that is our pal Neil Leahy everything looked so great last week down there, and just how far that facility has come since the days that I was an intramural pitcher out there on what used to be what is the baseball field. We actually played intramural that first year before they graded anything. So you were taking your life into your own hands down there trying to field a grounder. Trust me, I remember.
Neil's just happy he doesn't have to do anything now since both fields are plastic.
Yeah, we talked about that. Those true hops you get, especially over in on the softball field. Are really, I could have been a much better fielder there.
Absolutely.
Goober says, "Hey, great talking to everybody, and enjoy the rest of the draft." I will. Beautiful sunny days, and we'll all stay in this weekend and watch guys take the draft.
No. Not since that network has it exclusively. I won't be watching. But anyway.
Okay. You can roll tape and go home and watch.
That's right. I just get the update. Oh, okay. I get it on my phone. We're good.
This weekend usually corresponds with my daughter's birthday, where we used to take her and her friends to King's Dominion every year, or Busch Gardens, or someplace like that. And I'd be wandering around on that Saturday going, Hey, has anybody heard anything from the draft? Please, you're in NFL licensing apparel. Have you heard anything?
Hey, before I let you go, David Memory says, old memories of playing the coin football game at Radford with Mike Ashley, Reggie Britz, and Chris Melkus.
Yes.
Tim Lester and many others. Coin football with David Mabry. That had to be fun.
Melkus and Tim Lester were all-stars at that. I really had to put in extra hours and get calluses on my palm from pounding that machine.
That's the rolling game, right?
Yes. And if you did it right,
something else there.
The rollout sideline pass was unstoppable. You couldn't stop that. And it was don't get me started. I'll start breaking down film for you, okay?
So that was the game that had the X and the O's, right? And you had to roll them, and you had to like.
Yes, and it was wonderful. I was pretty good, but those guys, Christiansburg was like the Florida Panhandle for producing players.
Don't play the roll game. What was that called? That was a great game. I remember that game vividly.
Oh, I can't remember.
But you would always catch your hand in the You're right.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. All right. Well, hey to Goober.
All right. Great memory, David. Thank you.
All right. Be good, man. Hey, Mike Ashley. That was a great game. I played it over in Blacksburg at the game room over there. Yeah. Let me get my hand higher here next time I'm doing that motion, not down here. So you remember that. It had the roll and you would, that was a fun game. It was a fun, good memory, David. Wow. Forgot about that game. But you would inevitably pinch your hand like 7 times. Because, man, you would just get into it. You would just get into it. Haystacks, Calhoun. Those were the days. Yeah, boy. They really were. Boom. I think probably when I was younger, I kind of look at professional wrestling like I do the whole mythos of Bigfoot. Although, for a long time that wrestling can't be real. I mean, if you've ever been in any kind of fight, a real fight, like I was in when I boxed for several years, and you see how those guys handle each other, and you don't see any blood. You figure it out, but the mythos of the whole thing, Mike's right. You can't see guys who are supposed to be battling in the ring, pulling up in the same car, sharing a beer. Oops. That happened. I want to say it was Roddy Piper's A&E or somebody was talking about that they pulled up and they forgot because they'd been drinking too much and they forgot to get out of the car. But the people around the arena, I think it was before WrestleMania. And people are like, did they just walk in together? They're laughing. Aren't they supposed to be going after the heavyweight title tonight? Like, uh-oh, oops. All right, so I've sent Jen an invite keep in mind, I don't know. Yeah, there was blood. They did. They put whenever you saw the wristbands, and they would have them like when you get thrown out of the ring, they'd be underneath the curtain on the mat, and they'd go grab them. And Ric Flair was famous for shaving the forehead, cutting the forehead. And then they'd inevitably have those scars on their forehead. And you're like, how is punching a guy? How does he get scars on his forehead? But you never see the blood in the Saturday afternoon shows. All right? You would never see the blood then. But boy, when you would get the footage of like the dark arenas back in the day, or when you get the wrestling magazines, and that's when you would see the blood flowing. Boy, that was healthy. But yeah, you never got that during the house events that came on Saturday with Jim Caudle. He's so good. I think I appreciate the announcers during the wrestling heyday for me almost as much as the wrestlers. They had some really good. Mean Gene Okerlund was just Tony Schiavone. The way that they were just so good. Was it Bill Caudle? Was it Bob Caudle? You know what I'm talking about. Remember he had the glasses and those were the times. Those were the days. Bob Caudle. Thank you, TP. Remember how good he was? Bob Caudle. They had some really good folks. Schiavone was good. He was good. Mean Gene's the best. Especially that when you see, like, you can go to YouTube and find Mean Gene with the Macho Man. Randy Savage still had the best promos, man. I tell you what. Some of those things were. That's right. Former Denver Bronco and New York Jet, Wahoo McDaniels. Yeah, I remember that, TP. I saw that where Caudle passed away a few months ago. Yeah, Wahoo McDaniels was an NFL player. I have his rookie card. I do. The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream. I never got to see Dusty Rhodes when he was in better shape. He was always very large. But Ric Flair said pound for pound, he was probably the most talented performer. He later became a promoter for WCW or NWA, whatever it was at the time. He would book matches and develop some of their stars. But Ric Flair always said he was probably the most gifted in terms of being able to pull off the script. Things like that. Yeah, the cream rises to the top. Yeah, those all the Machos were good. And Mean Gene just kind of playing that role. It's just great. Gene and Ole Anderson. Swede Hansen. Forgot about Swede Hansen, David. Jack and Jerry Briscoe. Johnny Weaver. Yeah, Johnny Weaver was one of the ones. I remember my grandfather, my grandpa Wade, my mom's dad. They, that was a different era. So when that era was in the 50s and the 60s, wrestling, now they didn't have the entertainment part of it like they do now. They did, but it was people, they lived and died by that stuff. And I remember the first time I saw Johnny Weaver, I was just like, he's just a regular dude. Yeah, R.I.P. Hawk and Swede Hansen. I forgot about Swede Hansen. But they used to always call Johnny Weaver the best technical wrestler alive. Didn't he have the sideburns, right, Johnny Weaver? Johnny Weaver looked to me like he was 63 years old. Superstar Paul Jones. Paul Jones in reality was like 5'5". He was good in the ring, though. All you got to do is talk about wrestling. I'm getting a ton of professional door text. Ricky Steamboat. People are asking who I really liked growing up. Ricky Steamboat. He's still with us, by the way. Maverick David says, sadly, I caught the tail end of that era. Bruiser Bill White. Steamboat and Flair became really good friends, out of the mat and away from the mat. And they had some epic matches. They said because of their closeness, they were able to collaborate and coordinate it. They had some really, really good ones. Yeah, wrestling did come to Calfee Park. As a matter of fact, that's when I first met Ric Flair. I've told the story. I met him twice. Second time I met him, I got to hang out with him for a night. But first time we were coming back from our farm in Eggleston. Everybody remember the Tasty Freeze in Dublin? Rodney, I know you do. David Mabry. Didn't they also have wrestling at Loving Field? Or was it just Calvin? Didn't they have it at both? Anyway, we're coming back from the farm. It was me, my dad, and my brother. And we pull into the Tasty Freeze, getting a couple burgers and some milkshakes. They had really good milkshakes, man, the Tasty Freeze. And we pull in. I'm in there with my brother. As we're getting ready to get it wrapped up, this black Cadillac pulls up, and it was the wrestlers going, whether it was Loving Field or Calfee, there was an event that night. And Rick, the Nature Boy Flair, gets out of the back of the car, and I was in absolute awe. I think I almost dropped the tray of milkshakes. I don't remember how old I was, 10, 11. And he gets out. He didn't go in. He had the suit. He had the white shirt. He had the suit. And I remember he had the longer blonde hair then. And he just got out, and he saw me. He could see people. There were people coming up, and they were just like, and he just did a really subtle, woo, just kind of like, somebody else got out and went in and get in the order. Ric Flair was eating at the Tasty Freeze. True story. And then later we hung out. Me and my buddies were going down and doing like a mud race way back in the day in Huntersville. He had a restaurant, and I've got the picture I put up on Facebook, a lot of me and Ric Flair. And he walked in, and then he started talking to us and was more interested in what we did. He bought all of our food, all of our beverages, and we got to hang out and have conversations with Ric Flair. Still one of the best nights of my life. Started talking about the death of his son, though, and it got a little sad, but, he was talking about all of it. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, Freight Train Jones, one of my all-time favorites, yes. Iron Sheik, swinging those weights around. Guys say those things were incredibly heavy. And they were, yeah. That's the thing about it. These guys are athletes, and they're strong. To me, it's more amazing they don't kill each other, given what they do to each other. I'm telling you, man, they're extremely talented just to not put each other in a hot. And I love the way they protect each other when they know someone's hurt. They know pretty quickly. Ivan Koloff. Man, oh, man, oh, man. I know Jimmy the Boogie Woogie Man Valiant was very close with Ivan Koloff. Yeah. Back on the old radio show with the Boogie Man, we did it once a month. Maybe it's twice a month. And we'd have old wrestlers on, or wrestlers that we had current wrestlers on. We had Diamond Dallas Page came on. It was great. It was great. And just listening to those guys talk, Ivan Koloff came on. Unbelievable. Ricky Steamboat came on. But anyway, hey, I'm always glad to go down the wrestling rabbit hole, man. Always. It is a large component of a lot of young men's lives that turn into older men, and they never forget. Great characters. Some of those guys really enveloped those characters. Jake the Snake Roberts. Yep. But yeah, Ricky Steamboat for me. And it's funny now, you see them have interviews together and how close they always were, man. And then I remember as a smaller kid, I'd get so emotionally invested when Steamboat would battle Flair. You know, you're like, now you realize, hey. Absolutely, David Mabry. We could do wrestling. Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. That's right, the tag team combination. Rock and Roll Express. I never liked the Rock and Roll Express. It always got on my nerves. Ricky Morton. But Ricky was a great dude, though. Apparently he was a great dude, but they just never looked the part to me. But yeah, Steamboat and Youngblood, absolutely. Ric Flair and Greg Valentine. Greg the Hammer Valentine. Wow. Baron von Raschke. Dick Law. My brother saw the Rock and Roll Express at Wilco, Pulaski. See, isn't that great? You just look. And by the way, another one, when I was the women's broadcaster for the Virginia Tech for Bonnie Hendrickson's squad, we were down playing, I don't know who we were playing. Anyway, we were down in North Carolina, and Sting was there. And Sting, it was our first year. We were having the Sweet 16 year. He kept up with those kind of things, and he saw the team, and he came over and started talking to the girls. And we got pictures, and we got to meet Sting. He was great. He was outstanding. I remember Bonnie and Sting having a picture together. The Stinger. Yeah. That's my two brushes with my two with Flair and one with Sting. Wrestling brushes of greatness. We're always brushed in greatness when this young lady joins us. Did you like that?
It's sweet, but yeah, not really Sting level, but thanks. Thank you so much.
The Stinger was great. Great guy. He was a great guy.
Oh, Stinger, not Sting. Sorry, cut the tail end of that.
He's Sting, yeah, but the Stinger. You know, once you meet him, Jen, you can call him the Stinger.
Okay, all right. I don't have a lot of wrestling expertise, so sorry.
Where are you?
I'm in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Oh, okay. See, I couldn't remember.
Knew it wasn't my home.
So you're in Virginia this week. Next week you're with Holly.
Yes.
And then
actually, you won't see me with Holly because I don't leave till Saturday.
And then the next week you're in Vegas.
2 weeks after Holly, Vegas.
2 weeks. And then that is going to be fun because we want Vegas footage. That's what we want. Since you haven't played the sax, they're demanding Vegas footage.
Maybe.
So, I mean, I was going to wait and give you grief today, but early last week, you posted South Carolina just won the equestrian championship.
Yes. Do you have a problem with that? I'm proud of everything we do. I mean, I'm publishing things about our jazz program, and it's not just the big stuff like university. I mean, jazz is big to me. Let's qualify that. Jazz is very big to me and to a lot of other people. But to the average person, they're probably not as excited about some of the things I post. So you shouldn't be shocked because so much of it is music oriented.
Who did they beat for the equestrian championship?
I don't know.
How many schools actually have equestrian? Now, this wasn't an NCAA championship. This was I saw whatever it was, the National Equestrian, what is it? College Equestrian, whatever it is.
I really don't know that much about it.
Frankly, it sounds made up, but
my only interaction with that has been we've had a few equestrian recruits who were music people who came over to meet with us when they were being recruited. And I participated in that. Ultimately, the several people I've met with did not actually come to USC. So, they were visiting a few different schools and checking them out. But
what's the NIL budget in the SEC for the horses?
I don't know how that works. I'm very intrigued though. I don't know. I don't know, do they have special horse products that are sponsoring things? Probably.
I don't know.
I know it is a big SEC thing, though, because the recruits that I met with told me that they were looking only at SEC schools. I remember A&M was one of them.
Yes, the Gamecocks upset the number 2 A&M Aggies in a tight championship show at the World Equestrian Center in Florida. The teams tied at 10-10, but South Carolina secured the win on a raw score tally. So wait a minute, you really didn't even win. You were awarded the championship because of some raw score tally.
I don't know.
Apparently it was an upset. It's the NCEA, by the way.
Okay. Well, yeah, anything Gamecock were killing it at, I'm going to be proud of.
So now the peeps are saying
victories when you can get them.
Peeps are saying, so now not only when you play your sax that you're posting about the equestrian, you have to post when you play the sax on the show for all the peeps. So when you go around your little social media tour, you got to replay your saxophone. That's what they're demanding now.
Well, I do have a performance on Sunday that I'm flying back from Richmond tomorrow. No, wait, what is today? Today's Friday. Yes, tomorrow. And then Sunday, I am going to rehearsal and a performance on Sunday. So got a few things coming up.
Equestrian controversy. Wayne says, that's funny. Yeah, Jen's agents and handlers and staff are hammering out the contractual details of her playing for us. Yes. Yeah, I think it deserves an asterisk, Wayne. So an equestrian championship with an asterisk. Wow. 10-10 was the score. Apparently it was a major upset. I keep seeing major upset. Do the horses care?
A&M, that seems like horse country, right?
It does. I'm with you.
So that makes sense.
The
women got it. The equestrian women got in our fountain on campus, which has been the tradition when we have the championships that the students get in the fountain. They did that. Well, it's actually a reflection pool more with little fountains in it.
Wow, you got Western riders, you got English riders. I don't know. This world frightens and confuses me. I'm not sure exactly what this is, but
I think you would love the way the women look. Have you seen the team? Because that might be persuasive for you.
I did not.
I mean, the kinds of people who are involved in this are not your average. These are high dollar people and attractive people, pretty people of the world who have a lot of resources typically.
All right, I'm going to see if I can get the roster here. Oh, here we go. The equestrian roster.
Mm-hmm.
Except can't go to a South Carolina website without getting a bunch of little pop-ups.
Are they trying to get you to buy tickets or clothes or all the above?
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, the attractive people of means, smart, got their act together. You don't just
Probably
fall into equestrian, you know.
Probably entitled and very difficult to get along with as people.
Well, I don't know. I don't know any of them, but I don't know about the entitled part. But like typically, it's just a different kind of person who would do that, I would think.
Did they find a mouthpiece in the fountain?
Well, I just ordered another $300 piece, so hopefully I will find it somewhere other than in my wallet because it continues to drain my wallet for this.
I got to be honest. I don't understand how it can be taking you such a long time to find a freaking mouthpiece for a saxophone in 2026.
I can find one. It's just got to be the one.
What?
It's like when you were dating again. Were you just like, hey, I just need a woman up in here? Maybe you were.
Yeah.
But
yeah, pretty much.
But when it comes to drafting your next lifetime partner, it's not like that. Correct? When you pick Janet to be your next wife, you weren't just
True, very true, very true.
So,
but I mean, do you even get to try these out, or are you just ordering them blindly?
You order them based on some feedback and some ideas of what you like, and then you get to try them. And there's a lot of sanitizer type stuff involved. And then if you don't like it, you send them back. And it's just a long process. It's a lot of stuff, and something that worked for you 20 years ago might not work now. You know, your body is your instrument too, like everything inside your face and your throat and your, so all of those things affect, like with time, aging changes your body and how you respond and play, all of it.
Promethean says, I didn't know musicians strike like this. Wow. Yeah. Apparently it feels like a BDST strike, doesn't it? It really does.
I got to have the right setup. That's how we refer to it. Your setup. And my setup is not settled yet.
Well, people keep asking me, when is it going to happen? I say, well, I'll know what happens when I get the text from her. Hey, do you want to run through it and like see how it sounds? Then I'll know it's going to happen.
That what you're going to do then when we do the test is I'll have you record it on your side.
Yep.
And then I can hear it and see if the sound quality is not good. It may never happen because I'm not going to sound crappy.
More money, Rick. More money, Rick. More money. I don't have any more Gen NIL budget. I don't.
The budget is exactly zero, and I am doing the best that I can with the situation.
So what are you doing, Alexandra? Remind me.
I'm in Fredericksburg. And I saw my brother last night. I came up a little early to see him, hang out with him. We played more pinball. And I knew the draft was on, but I don't really like the first night of the draft because it's so blabby and slow. It drives me crazy. So we didn't watch that. We played pinball. And then today I'm going to a wedding in Richmond that is actually tonight, Friday night wedding. And then that was my main purpose in traveling. And then I fly back tomorrow.
Well, you did well. Everybody likes your pick. There, you and your beloved commander, Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
How do you feel? I haven't really looked at a lot of the results or anything. I mean, who else are you feeling good about and not good about?
Well, I love Mendoza. It was a no-brainer. The Raiders didn't have to do much, but they got him. The Jets, I think the Jets did okay. Maybe they should have taken Reese over Bailey, but Bailey's the most ready edge rusher. They got a good offensive player late. Giants did okay because Reese fell to them. I think your pick is just fine. Browns, I think, did well with the tackle and the receiver. I think the Rams blew it. Ty Simpson out of Alabama. It seems like a real reach. You can tell. By the way, you need at some point, you want to see some good comedy today because I know you live on social media. On X, they've got Sean McVay's reaction to the whole drafting. You can tell Simpson did not want to do it. I mean, you could tell McVay is just like, thought we were winning now. I don't want to sit around and develop this guy. He's not even that good. I don't think he's that good either. I think they blew it. And how about this? The Big Ten now, not only is it far superior than the SEC with on-field performance, it's now taken over and won the NFL draft. More Big Ten players than SEC players. So your league is really floundering.
Well, I saw Ohio State in particular had several almost in a row. I can't remember, but things are changing. Money changes things.
You're now the second league. You can't keep saying it just means more anymore because it means the Big Ten has surpassed you. How about that?
I still think it means more. I'm going to stick with it.
it may cost more, but the meaning more is not parlaying itself because you've now been outdistanced by they won all 3 major sport championships. Wow. And now they beat your tail off in the draft in the first round. It's over.
Is it over forever? I mean, it's over for this year.
I think the whole perception that the SEC, which has all just been propped up by the ESPN propaganda because they're in bed with you anyway, and all those blowhards on game day. Oh, my God. Even Saban. Just shut up. Anyway.
Whoa, okay.
It's pretty clear that all this is just hype because the ACC is not as far behind in terms of draft picks than the SEC.
I don't think you would be so passionate about this if there wasn't something more there, like culturally, and there's intrigue to the SEC. The culture component keeps people like the haters, people like you, comparing all this. Of course, we're not comparing because right now it's not favorable to us. But in general, even we're not necessarily doing all that comparison either.
That's funny because it's not favorable to us, so we're not going to talk about it right now. But
I'm admitting it right now, yeah. But in general, the reason everybody cares is because the SEC is the SEC.
What does that mean?
Because of the culture and because it's like hating the Yankees, like you hate somebody who's really good.
I don't think that has anything to do with it for me. I just get sick of hearing about it when the results don't match the hype. The hype goes away when the results don't match it any longer.
Well, the results did match it for a long time. Does 1 year cancel everything out?
What if one becomes 2 years? Well, and what if the Big Ten continues to gain momentum? It doesn't matter. Those two leagues are running
5 years. If it happens for 5 years, then you can say, yeah, it's done. But I don't think it's done yet.
Well, we'll see. Lord knows they pay their coaches more than anybody. Did you see what DeBoer got?
I did not.
He's now he got a 7-year extension.
Ooh.
He's going to average $13 million a year. What are we doing?
I don't know.
And then you have the situation where Oklahoma State paid the Iowa State Center in women's basketball $1.4 million. It's the most any women's basketball player's ever gotten. Yet Oklahoma State said they lost $2.6 million in their women's basketball program. How do you validate that? How does Alabama validate paying a football coach $13 million? Kirby Smart gets matched. He gets $15 million a year. I really start to believe it's no longer, it is money laundering. I don't believe that this whole financial panic in college athletics is real because actions speak louder than words, right? I mean, take your own personal life into this equation, right? You meet these guys, okay, he seems cool. He's saying all the right things. Let's get him there at the restaurant. And then this guy's going to bring out a food scale or tell me the SEC is not important and college football is overrated. Actions speak louder than words, right? So you can't keep giving out this money and then trying to say this is unsustainable. I wrote about it this week in my Patriot article. It doesn't mean anything anymore. I don't want to hear it anymore. Start acting like what business model succeeds that way, unless it's a lie, right?
I would agree with that for sure. I mean, it is getting to the point that I think some schools will just have to opt out of it and say, we just can't hang with us financially. And then they're going to go to the other side of, where it started more about people wanting to be in it for other reasons.
Prometheus says the SEC hasn't won a national football title since 2022. Whoa.
They've been in the mix. So this idea that it's completely over is just so dramatic and people are celebrating about a little too much, which to me says you're a little too interested in this.
We just want to see the ESPN SEC love affair break up. That's what we want to see. and then you're going to stop seeing it talked about as much. That's what we want to see.
I mean, some overcorrection is a good thing at times, but it shouldn't be like it's the end of the SEC.
No, I'm not saying that, but they have been propped up so long that it was just such a different level that they're almost a semi-pro. And I guess with the NFL players they produced, I get why people said that. But now the results haven't matched it, right?
Well, not recently. I mean, a lot has changed recently. So, I mean, to me, the environment is still turbulent enough that it's difficult to forecast where anything's going. Would you agree?
That's a good point. That I agree with 100% because you don't know. I mean, but I just know if you keep spending all the money that they continue to spend for all these different things, and then you're trying to say that we don't have money.
Well, and it's poorly timed too. Like as you and I were talking about some on social media, nationally there is this enrollment cliff with colleges. So there's a shortage of graduating seniors, and the numbers are really severe in some states. Thankfully, in South Carolina, it's pretty minimal because so many people have moved towards the South, and that's been fortunate for the big Southern schools. But that is affecting this climate as well, this situation. And so I think what will occur is more financial crunch overall for universities, like the Oregon post you had about mass layoffs, and they just don't have the budget. So you're going to have these things colliding, converging, these two big issues, and it's going to cause a lot of problems. Like a school is squeezing its operation budget because of lower enrollment. It's not the time for the school to bail out an athletics area that is overspent. And it's going to really be a big, big problem for a lot of big schools. So watch for that too.
Absolutely. So when Tech makes their new presidential hire, they're going to have bigger issues than thinking about football. They're going to have to look at all these things. But
it's going to be the enrollment issue is going to thankfully not impact a school like Virginia Tech or UVA or the SEC schools as much because they're in vogue. They're very popular with out-of-state applicants, particularly from the Northeast part of the United States. That's going to help protect it some, but it's not going to entirely protect us from being very strategic and aggressive about trying to keep everything afloat, because it's going to be a tough few years in here. It's going to be a little bit difficult.
And that's true, but you say that, and Tech raised their tuition 3%, which means now the average for an out-of-state, if a kid wants to come to Tech now, it's going to be $65,000 to $68,000. How is that sustainable for any young person that doesn't have enough scholarship help or doesn't have the means coming from whatever family to say, oh, that's my dream school? It's going to cost what? I mean, that's a house loan.
It is. A lot of those out-of-state people are getting scholarship assistance, that is helping quite a bit with making it attractive. But I was just talking with somebody last night affiliated with our family, and I think she said one of her children applied to 20 schools, and Virginia Tech was in the mix, South Carolina, Clemson. They live in the Northeast. And she was telling me about the price tag, and ultimately ended up being the reason students going in-state in Massachusetts. So I think the kinds of students that would have considered it before, I think people are not as eager to make that commitment to do it. So it is going to affect enrollment. Everything's going to affect enrollment, and enrollment drives money at colleges.
What is the tuition? Do you know the in and out of state tuition at South Carolina by any chance, since you recruit and stuff?
Yeah, like the in-state right now, thankfully, is only around $13,000, which is great. And
for in-state? For in-state?
In-state, yeah. And then out of state, normally the full out of state is closer to 36, 37, but we have the ability, of course, in music, doing what I do, I'm really grateful for this, to waive a lot of that with scholarship students. So like every student in our marching band gets a scholarship, and it's worth more than $16,000 a year. The scholarship's $500, but the tuition reduction is worth $16,000. So that's how we're recruiting out of state. That's why I'm going to New York and hanging around the Northeast and recruiting up there.
So you have pretty good ways to help out-of-state kids if they want to come. They can earn scholarship. Okay, that's good. That's good.
And we do well in Virginia because with that reduction, we're pretty competitive with the Virginia schools. So that's a good thing. That's why I spend time in Virginia recruiting too. Now, we don't do as well in a state like North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, states that have some kind of scholarship to keep people in state. It's difficult, or really inexpensive in-state schools. Like North Carolina in-state is really inexpensive. It's a great.
People are asking, is that per year or in total? Those numbers you're giving. It's per year, right?
Per year, like just the tuition money. I'm not talking about housing and all that other stuff. Thankfully, housing, there's a huge range. Like in every school, you get what you pay for. So if you want to have the granite countertops and a swimming pool and all that, you're going to pay for it. But if you want to have like a traditional dorm experience, like those of us of a certain age, those are at the bottom end of the cost.
Which my son just had at UVA Wise. You're fine. You got a bed, don't you? Have fun. You got a desk and a bed? You better do well.
Well, we were laughing about it because that was part of the culture, right? Like you had your little shower caddy and your robe and you put it on, went down the hall and took a shower and then came back. I mean, students these days, that's another issue with the cost of education is they expect the same quality of life they had at home or better. And that's part of what's driving up the cost because it's just not the same expectation. Like people don't really want to have roommates. They want their own rooms. They want High Point. They want High Point level facilities, beautiful facilities and places to live. So, it's a lifestyle creep issue where they don't want to have a downgrading.
They just spent over $7 million on their basketball roster, High Point. How about that? Yeah.
I mean, they're a really popular school, but like when you talk to people about it, one of the first things they mention is facilities and how nice it is to live there, and they have nail salons in their dorm or whatever. Like, it's just that they've gone a different route with their recruitment, and part of why it's attractive to students at that age is, again, they don't want to have a downgrading of their life experience. They want upgrade.
Well, plus they're private school. And their president is a multi-millionaire. So that doesn't hurt either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Congratulations, Jeff. His daughter's getting ready to graduate from Concord. 3 years in a dorm. She survived. There you go. And she'll be better for that experience than being pampered in some big luxurious home.
But the typical dorm experience at schools anymore is not the hallway with the shower caddy. The hall bath. So, that's driving all this up as well. Like, it's fascinating to me too. Like, anytime I go to any kind of student event, I mean, most of the cars are nicer than my car. That's not something that we had back in our day. So, just things are changing. Expectations are changing.
Yeah. Yeah. And the results are getting worse because of it. My son had that though. They had a shared shower area. He had to do that. He had to get a robe, and just thinking about what you're saying, he had to go down and shower in the area. Yeah. The males area. Yeah.
I mean, it forces students to interact with each other. And it does make me sad that there's less of that. Like, that was part of the learning experience of college, is navigating relationships with people who are a lot different than you are, and having forced interaction with them. And I think the more people self-isolate and just hang out in the room, play on their phone.
Yeah.
Just bad for society in general. It's not good. And it's not good to only hang out with people who think like you think and agree with you on everything. It's not good.
No, you're right about that. I mean, I love our student athletes because I think Radford's still one of the few places that can put that phrase in there, student athlete. But this is all you see when you're walking toward a group.
Yeah.
You're waiting for a hello, and they'll glance, but it's just like, and then they almost walk into things, and it's just, you're right. It's almost like a zombie type of reality now because of social media and these damn things that have just ruined everybody. So,
well, one thing I like about Vegas, I'd like to go to a club there that is the Bruno Mars owned club, and it's called Pinky Ring over in Bellagio, and phones are not allowed to be used.
there we go. There we go. I like
it is
that.
really fun to see people living in the moment, and it tends to draw all ages, and it is everyone's listening to the music and grooving a little bit, and people are like normal people. And the Masters situation was like that as well. Watching the Masters, so refreshing to see the phones away. And
yeah, they'll kick you out of that bar, won't they? If you've got a phone, you're done. You're bounced out of there. See ya.
Yeah, no taking pictures, video. Like, you're allowed to like briefly look at it just to make sure everything's okay, I guess, with people who have to check in on home or whatever. But if they see you taking any footage or pictures, you're
done. You're done.
And I love it. That's my favorite place to go in Vegas.
So we'll only get the stories that Jen decides to share with us. Damn.
No pics from that place. We always get too. This is such a Vegas thing, right? Like, you pay hundreds of dollars and you get a little small table and a place to sit.
Yeah.
But it's fun because that tends to attract people over who are trying to get in your little section and charm you and woo you to get in the section.
Hey.
That's fun. I like that. It's fun to have the power.
And you've got your driver rating waiting on you. That's cool.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a little gnat here. Sorry.
Something happened there, Jen?
Yeah, TK, our driver.
A little too much breakfast burrito this morning?
I haven't done any. Honestly, have done nothing so far today. I've got to do a few things, but it's after.
TK, that's right. TK. Yeah, that'd be good.
It's the driver.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him, trying to keep you gals from getting out of trouble. Oh, my Lord. He's earning whatever extra money he's getting. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he looks forward to it as an event.
He probably has to go in training for like months.
He always gets us special drinks. He remembers what we like and puts it in the limo for us. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
He knows I'm a bourbon person, so he'll get me a little bourbon lined up.
There you go. There you go. When the bourbon starts flowing, the tips start coming out. Hey, come here, TK. Am I giving you enough money tonight? Take that.
He always looks out for us.
All right. Well, listen, have a great time. Can you have a great time at a wedding? But yeah,
I think this will be, this is not going to be a typical wedding. It's at an upscale kind of restaurant, like back room. They're going to do their vows in there quickly, and then we're all going to have cocktails and food and sit down, nice dinner, some dancing after.
T-Bird asked, while Jen gambles, could TK play the sax for us maybe?
I could get a student to play sax for you. You want that?
No, we want you. We don't want some student. No, we don't want that. We don't know that student. They mean nothing to us, but you're the heart and soul of the program. You're the first lady of BDST, so it's got to be you.
Okay, well, we'll do our dress rehearsal and everything. Like, hopefully the new order that arrived, my mouthpiece, again, my setup, it's just real nerdy. A ligature and a mouthpiece. It's the two things. Need both. So I got to try them both and make sure they work.
Well, have a great time in Fredericksburg.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick Watson.
And we get to see you next week before Holly. So that's disappointing, but that's okay. That's okay.
Sorry. Couldn't make it work because May 1st, a week from today, is my huge deadline.
Yeah, it's our graduation
deadline done, and then I can start having a little fun in May.
Yeah, we got a bunch going on too next May 1st. We got to do I got to host a couple of athletics things so for our grads. But okay, all right, we'll be good, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Love you.
Love Jen. Bye. Bye, Jen. All right, good stuff here on a Friday. Thanks to Damian Sordelette. Great stuff from him. Getting his take on Whit Babcock retiring. Thanks to you, the best listening audience, our wonderful sponsors who we've talked about. Thanks to Mike Ashley. Thanks to Jen. Everybody have a great weekend. Stay safe. Subscribe, like, and share the channel. And we will see you on Monday. We'll review the NFL draft and all sorts of things. Anything else that might break. Take care.